Carl Azuz for CNN 10. We are living in historic times. The events that we see worldwide today are the kind that appear in history books and encyclopedias in the decades to come. The big picture of how COVID-19 is affecting the world is still blurry. There's just so much that's still unknown about it. There's no vaccine or universal treatment for the coronavirus, though scientists worldwide are racing to find them. It's not known exactly how it spreads or how long it stays on surfaces if they get contaminated. It's not known when exactly people are contagious once they've contracted it, and the symptoms range from severe and deadly to practically nothing. But more details about this disease get filled in every day. Where it's spreading, how many people are testing positive for it where tests are available, which medications are showing some effectiveness in fighting it and which ones aren't, and how it's affecting industries, businesses, workers, parents, and students. When we put this show together, 92% of Americans were under stay-at-home orders. There were 11 states that didn't have them in place, but some of the local governments and counties within those states did. Another part of this picture that's getting clearer is the economic impact. There's a jobs report due out Friday morning from the U.S. Labor Department. It'll be for the month of March, and yesterday, economists expected it would show the U.S. lost 100,000 jobs and that the unemployment rate, the percentage of workers who didn't have a job, would increase to 3.8% from its historic low of 3.5%. But there's a catch. The information for that survey is only as recent as the middle of March, and that's before records started being broken for initial jobless claims. This is the number of people who just started asking the government for help because they lost their jobs in layoffs or business cutbacks. Last Friday, we told you how that number, which accounted for the third week of March, was a record 3.28 million people. Today's figure, which measures the number of initial jobless claims in the fourth week of March, is a new record, 6.6 million people. Is there a silver lining here? U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin says when the U.S. defeats the virus, he expects the American economy will recover quickly, with gross domestic product jumping back up and unemployment dropping back down to the way they were before the coronavirus struck. That literally depends on how the recovery shapes up.
How quickly can the economy recover from coronavirus? A lot depends on what shape this recession takes. There's an alphabet soup of possibilities. The V shape, the U shape, or the dreaded L shape. A V shape is the best case scenario here. It's a sharp drop followed by an equally sharp recovery. It means the economy would ramp back up just as quickly as it shut down. But that will largely depend on how quickly the virus is contained and how soon people can go back to work. That's why a U-shaped recovery may be more likely here. In that case, the economy contracts, then bumps along the bottom for a while before climbing back. Many economists are betting on that scenario since uncertainty caused by the virus won't just evaporate overnight. Business owners and CEOs may curtail future investment, and consumer spending, the biggest driver of U.S. economic activity, probably won't bounce back immediately either. That's partly because of lost income, but also because of the psychological toll the viral outbreak has taken on consumer confidence. Beyond the V and the U, there's the worst case scenario, the L shape. Picture a hockey stick with a long tail. That happens if the virus is not contained, social distancing remains into the summer, and businesses and consumers take years to recover. After the Great Recession, economic activity took nearly 4 years to return to its pre-recession peak. The Great Depression was even more severe, lasting 10 years. Thankfully, most economists are not predicting this outcome, but all of this is highly uncertain, and it all depends on the biggest unknown, the course of the virus.
10-second trivia. The Sahara is the largest non-polar desert on Earth. What is the second largest? Arabian Desert, Gobi Desert, Kalahari Desert, or Great Victoria Desert? Covering about 900,000 square miles, the Arabian Desert is the world's second largest. Stretching across Saudi Arabia, reaching Iraq and Jordan in its north and Oman and Yemen in its south, the Arabian Desert dominates the Arabian Peninsula. Today we're taking you to a part of this region called the Rub al Khali Desert, literally a desert within a desert. The British explorer Wilfred Thesiger crossed it in the mid-20th century, and he said it was named Rub al Khali, or Empty Quarter, because it's so enormous and so desolate. But a closer look at this desert reveals much more than sand and emptiness. There's a place in the United Arab Emirates where it's a destination.
This is the Rub al Khali Desert, known as the Empty Quarter. It's the largest continuous sandmass in the world. It stretches across Saudi Arabia, Oman, Yemen, and the United Arab Emirates. While some view it as a harsh and barren terrain, this man couldn't live without it and calls it home.
If you'd like to be away from the city and from the noise, you can have the peaceful over here, because when you go out on the desert, you cannot hear anything. No cars, no airplanes, no noise, no nothing. You can hear yourself while you are breathing.
Nestled within the desert is the Casa Al Sarab Resort. And Amro is the activity manager there.
I love the desert because the people, they think it's an empty, there is nothing here, but there is a life, and it's especially on the night. It's a challenge to live, that's true, but for me as a person, I love challenges and I love to be on the desert. My favorite activity here to do, it's the dune bashing. For me as a person, I love in general the adventure and I love driving. And most of the time when the guests are shouting during the dune bashing, that means they're enjoying. If you look at the desert, actually you think it's empty and there is no life here. But in fact, there is a big life, there is a wildlife even.
We are.
You see, this is the baby camel, I told you about it. This is actually our camel farm where we have around 30 camels. They are mixed between male and female. They call it desert sheep actually because while he's walking on the sand, he don't get stuck or he don't sink. He's like floating, or his hoof is flat. And the second thing helping him to climb the dunes, the back legs actually, he has 3 knees, not 1. He has 3. If you would like to have the experience of the culture in Abu Dhabi, you need to go to the desert, because the desert was a part of almost all of the Arabic countries, and it's our culture.
Special delivery earns 10 out of 10. In northern Maine, along the U.S. border with Canada, there's still plenty of snow on the ground, and that gives Hannah Lucas and her sled dogs plenty of opportunity to make deliveries. Lucas moved to northern Maine so she could train her dogs for racing. Now, with 12 dogs and 2 human helpers, they take groceries and medical supplies to elderly people in the area, traveling between 50 and 75 miles a day on sled. But for her and the dogs, it's not too much trouble. For those who received their help, they're iditarodical. Some, when thinking about their generosity, might get husky-voiced. But this is when it's a good thing to go to the dogs. It proves that when you embark on a new trail, even if the going gets rough, Fridays are pawsome. Last mention of the week goes to Princeville Junior Senior High School in Princeville, Illinois. You guys are pawsome for subscribing to our YouTube channel. I'm Carl Azuz for CNN.